Last one.
Until the governor says we have to have.
The governor says 4 more.
Did I say 3 by the 21st? I meant 7 by the 22nd.
Figure it out.
Yeah, sure. Make sure you don't mute it.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Am I unmuted now? I believe I am.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for joining us this evening. I want to start by letting everyone know if you have not joined one of these meetings, if you have a question, you may hit the chat button down at the bottom of your screen, and we'll see your questions and we'll try to answer them as we go along tonight. So we're going to start off by saying that this is the 3rd public meeting that we're holding for the community in regard to our reopening plan here at Lyme. And once we get started, again, you may ask any question concerning our plan at any time, and we'll stop periodically through the session. In the room here with me this evening, I have Mrs. Gibbons, our Assistant Superintendent. I have Mr. Davis, our building principal. I have Justine Dow, who is our school nurse. And Mike Gibo is our IT director. So we're going to get started talking just a little bit. I'm going to follow the agenda that hopefully you saw on the website. And it's the same agenda that we followed for each of the other 2 sessions. But again, if you have different questions or if you have you need clarification on anything, you may ask those questions throughout the session. So on our website, we're really excited that this year we're going to have a reopening portal. And on that portal, which is found right on the home page of our website, you'll click the link. It'll take you to an area on our website that houses all of our reopening documents. You'll see information from the nurse. There will be information from the state, the CDC, and we have videos on there that the children can watch before they come to school. Parents can look at those with the kids, and it'll give you a good idea of what school is going to look like this year. So if you have any questions at all about our reopening portal, please don't hesitate to ask. Many people have wondered about our phased approach to reopening. It is different than what many districts are doing. And I can tell you that when administration and staff worked on this approach, safety was our primary concern. So looking at safety options for our students and for our staff, making sure that we bring everyone back in a very intentional manner and in such a way that we have time to properly train and properly answer questions and make sure that we are addressing any situations that we may not have thought about in a slow and intentional fashion for our kids. So as we are considering those guidelines, we also thought this phased approach would really help us address flexibility and seamless transitioning. As we all have seen throughout this pandemic, circumstances can change from one day to the next. And as such, we want to be prepared to address the needs of our students regardless of what those situations dictate. So we believe this phased-in approach will help us do that seamlessly, or as seamlessly as possible. We're striving toward full in-person learning for all students beginning in phase 6, which begins as part of our plan on October 5th. So the 5th through the 9th, by then we will have all of our students back in the building. Since Governor Cuomo has given permission for in-person instruction to begin in all New York State schools, that is, again, our goal. There are accommodations which would look like remote learning most often for students who have medical concerns, or for families that have loved ones living with them that also have some sort of a health concern. In all of those cases, I want to be very clear that a doctor's note is required. Again, since the governor has indicated that we can open with in-person instruction, we are treating this like we do any other year for students that would require accommodations at home. A student breaks their leg and they're in a wheelchair and they have to be at home and get home instruction. Or we have a student that's getting treatment for cancer. We may do remote learning from the hospital with that student. So this is really no different for us than those cases. So the expectation is that students will be on site. If a student has a medical issue or a family member in the household has a medical concern, we absolutely will accept a doctor's note for those situations, and we will address those and make accommodations accordingly. Any other situation at this point, and again, this could change anytime depending on the governor's directives, but at this point, that is how we're moving forward with our plan. And if there are situations where families say, you know, we don't have any health concerns with our children, we don't have individuals living in our household with health concerns, but we really feel like it's best to homeschool our children, we can also help you with that. So the homeschooling applications come from the district, and our registrar can help you get signed up and let you know what the expectations for a homeschooling model are. So if there are additional questions on that, please feel free to email me or call the school, and I'd be happy to give you further information on that. So Chromebooks will be used every day, and students are expected to bring those to school when they are participating in in-person instruction, and to take them home in the evening with them or in the afternoon with them. And again, it's really important that those Chromebooks are charged and that they're in good working condition. If there's an issue, you may call the school or email, and we will address that just as quickly as we can. But again, it's important that the students remember those Chromebooks so that they can participate in their learning actively at school. Teachers will be utilizing the Chromebooks as an essential tool every day, again, whether it's in person or through remote learning. This year, backpacks and book bags are permitted. That is a change. However, given the current situation and the fact that our students no longer can share materials, share books or paper, we believe our 7 through 12 students will need a place to store their items. So book bags and backpacks are in fact okay this year. Masks will be worn. So this has been a big question. I've had some emails from parents who are uncomfortable with the thought of their students wearing masks all day. And I'm really happy to report that certainly is not an expectation. I understand the concern. We understand the concern. So the way the masks will work, if students are participating in our transportation, they must wear a mask at all times on the school bus. They must wear a mask in school while they're moving about our classrooms or going up and down the hallways. Masks must be worn during those times. When they are in the classroom, the teachers will let the students know. All the desks are 6 feet apart. And when the students are working on classwork at their desk or working at their Chromebook, they will be given permission by the teacher to remove their face masks. If a student needs to get up to use the restroom or to sharpen a pencil or to throw a tissue away, before that student gets up, all students will be asked to put their mask on, and then the student who is throwing it away will also have their mask on and get up and move to the wastebasket or to the restroom and then back to their seat. Once again, when everybody's seated, then the masks can come off again. Transportation is where we really need your help. Mr. Davis, I believe, was sending out another reminder. We did send out a survey about transportation, and I'll thank you for your patience. I know this is about the 3rd time we've sent something out asking about transportation, but this is one of our biggest challenges right now. We can currently have 22 students on a 66 passenger bus. And as you can imagine, that's creating some issues for us getting students to school. So we have, we're obligated to 2 separate bus runs. We'll have an elementary bus run to and from school. We'll have a secondary run to and from school. But any parents that are in a position to be able to safely allow their children to walk to school, if you're here in the village, or if you have an opportunity and the means to transport your children to and from school, that would really help us out a lot. If you have not filled out that survey, we're asking you to please do so by tomorrow. The transportation director and Mrs. Rickett are creating transportation routes, and we really need to have those numbers to be accurate. So any help with that would be very much appreciated. And if you have additional questions, just as a little, it's along the same lines, but a little side note, someone had asked about transporting. For instance, this parent had elementary children and some secondary children. And she indicated that, of course, that would be a bit challenging to make that many trips to and from school. So she asked if it would be helpful if, you know, she transported, say, the elementary children, and then we picked up the secondary children. And what I can say is any help in that regard would be beneficial to the district. So some help is better than no help. So please keep that in mind. The other big issue that we recognize is going to create some hardships for our parents potentially, but this is out of our hands. It has been, the expectation has come down from the state that there will be no bus changes permitted this year. So whatever bus a student is picked up on is the bus they must ride home on. And there will be no changes allowed in that regard. So please think about situations where in the past you may have sent a note in to have a student ride a different bus home to go to a sitter's or to a grandparent's, or in very rare cases, we occasionally would have a parent call with an emergency situation saying, you know, I'm not going to be home, I'm still at work. There, you know, can you allow my child to go on a different bus to, you know, my sister's house? That is no longer allowed. So please make sure that you have thought about those plans ahead of time for your children. So in-person instruction, again, I want to spend a little bit of time on this because I have had a couple questions in regard to our plan, and there was a bit of confusion. So I want to try to clarify what that's going to look like. So our children in K-6 will be in school from 8 to 2:30. And I want to share that we did utilize the survey information, and it was shared very often that we needed to have our secondary kids available to watch their elementary siblings. And so the hours of operations we came up with for our students really, we believe is the best we could do to try to fix that problem for our parents. So our elementary students will be 8 to 2:30. 7 through 12 students will be 9:30 to 1. And I do want to remind folks that there will be access to instructional staff from about 8 to 3. There will be access to administration from 8 to probably 5 most days. And Healthy Kids will once again be providing after school childcare until 6 p.m. So if you do need childcare, that's something that we would be happy to help you look into. So I do have a question here. Let's see. It says, depending on what time 6th graders are starting school, I could potentially take my child to school, but would he be able to ride the bus home? And I would say most likely. So if you made that clear, and you can put that information right on your survey, or if you want to double check and make sure that that information is clear with transportation, you can call and say, you know, I will need PM transportation only for my students. And again, you know, the district currently is having to play this by ear a little bit because we don't know what the numbers are going to look like. We may have to send another bus out to drop children off on certain days. We just don't know. But as consistent as we can be with those bus lists, for instance, if you say, yes, I will transport my children every morning, we really are going to ask that you stick with that for the remainder of the school year, because it will create hardships for us if we have to try to redo our transportation mid-year. So we'd appreciate your help. Okay. So we're going to go on to, I think I might have another chat. Let me see that one. How will BOCES be run this year? Is it online or at school? If at BOCES, how will transportation run? Okay, that's a great question, Carolyn. So BOCES is going to run, for the most part, what we are being told is BOCES will be daily in person for most, if not all, programs. And we will be providing our own transportation from Lyme. And I'm not sure that that piece has actually been completely worked out, but I believe the BOCES students that need transportation will actually be riding in on the elementary bus. If that looks like we're going to have too many students on those buses, then we may have to do a separate BOCES run. But we will no longer be sharing transportation with TI this year because we would just have too many students on a bus at one time. So we still are working on that a bit, and there will be information coming hopefully very soon about the BOCES plan, but transportation, I believe, will be addressed probably by a separate run. So I have another one here. Okay, so this question, again, about BOCES, will that be only during the 9:30 to 1 time frame, and will it start in September instead of October when the 12th graders start coming back to the building? Thank you, Erin. I believe we've made the decision that it will start in September. And again, the BOCES students will ride in with the elementary students if they need a ride, or parents, if parents will help us out in transport to the school, they can be at school at 8 o'clock. I'm not sure, I haven't heard what time our bus will leave for BOCES in the morning, but there is a very flexible schedule this year at BOCES, and we have been told, because of all the different start times, and some districts are doing more remote days and such, that BOCES will take our kids when they get there, and they will help them make up the time. The other thing I'm hearing is that especially those programs that have hour requirements, those are taking precedent over maybe some of the other courses. So I think we'll be set, and they should be starting September 8th with those BOCES courses. Great question. Oops, let me go. So we're going to move down. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit. The district is going to create a question and answer document from all of the meetings. The question and answer documents will be posted on the portal, and the Anytime parents ask questions, for instance, the questions you are asking this evening will be added to that. Because you can bet that if you have a question, other people have the same question. In the interim, if you have anything that you're wondering about that has not been addressed, you may email me, you may email Mrs. Gibbons or Mr. Davis, and we'll be happy to get back to you as soon as possible. So coming up, we have the 4 through 12 Successful Student Boot Camp. And I just want to be clear that that will replace the orientation that the 6th graders usually participate in. So we are really hoping that parents will encourage and sign up their students to participate in the boot camp. We really believe that this opportunity will calm the students, get them really prepared for coming in, moving around the building safely. They'll have an opportunity, I believe, to look at least partial schedules. Will they have their schedules, Mr. Davis? So they will get their schedules during the boot camp. Teachers will probably give them sign-ins for some of the classroom areas that are remote. So it's really important that they come in and learn some of these important facts before coming to school. In addition, there are some mandatory training materials that students will be going through, and again, some of those materials will be posted on the portal for students to use. So transportation is available for the boot camps, and but you do need to sign up. You need to let us know so that we can have an accurate transportation schedule for that evening, or for those days, excuse me. I believe that's all I have. So we will take questions. Does anyone else have anything? Is there anything that I have forgotten that we should add? So I'm looking, Mr. Gibo, are there any other questions? Okay.
You just had one too.
Okay, where do we sign them up for the boot camp?
You can call in to Mrs. Rickett or Mrs. McIntosh.
Okay, if you call the school and ask for Mrs. Rickett or Mrs. McIntosh, they will help you with that sign up. Can you email video to us when it is completed? We lost audio after you talked about BOCES. Cannot hear anything.
It'll be posted up on the website.
Okay, can you see why there's no audio though? Can you
They
come?
lost audio because you weren't talking.
Oh. We absolutely, as soon as the link is available, we will be posting those on the website. And we will also be posting the question and answer piece on the portal. I want to make sure. Mrs. Cordova, if you can hear me now, will you just type something that says yes, you can hear me? So the next question is, will the younger grades have a back to school night? So the reason we did not do that for the students in kindergarten through third is because they are coming back to school in person right from the beginning. And we will have all hands on deck with our staff. Our high school teachers will not have students coming in at that time. So they will be available to help with the younger students. And we will do hands-on, so to speak, training right from the get-go. And so we felt like it wasn't necessary to have the younger students come back beforehand. Again, they'll be coming to school, and we will start the training process with them in real time in the building on September 8th. It says, what day does sixth graders start school? Do they start the second week in phase 2? So the sixth graders, they begin, it's actually phase 3 when the sixth graders start. It will be week 2, but it's called phase 3. Phase 1 is just if all students were remote learning. Phase 2 is the first week of school, and that's for K3 students. And grade 6 students, grade 4 through 6 students begin in-person learning the week of September 14th through the 18th. If there are any more questions, we're happy to stay for a few more minutes and answer those questions. Again, if you think of them after we're done. Oh, good. Thank you, Erin. I thought it was on my end because I actually have lost my video on my end. So, and usually they don't let me touch things when so, and I touched something, so thank you for letting me know. But yes, we will get the videos up as soon as possible. And the videos from the last 2 times, they were recorded through the RIC, and they will be sending a link to us. If there's anything that anyone, again, thinks of after we sign off here and you would like to have those questions answered, please just email those and we will get back to you just as soon as possible. Oh, okay, let me look. Question in the chat part, which I can't see on here, Mike. Can you, is it on yours?
Will we have access to schedules for the kids prior to starting? We would like to plan out remote learning as we have an idea how the in-person will go.
Yes, you will get schedules. They will be handing out schedules at the Successful Student Boot Camp. And if something happens that your child does not participate, which we hope that's not going to be the case, but if that happens, you can call the district and someone will make sure that we get those to you. Yes, we could email those to you if need be. But again, it really is important if you can get your students here for the boot camp. I had a student, I saw a student outside of school, and that person asked if, are we going to have to do work that day? So the answer is they will be learning about the new way to do school, because it's very different for all of us in this climate. Okay. Does anyone have anything else? Are there any more questions? And yes, we will talk, let me talk just a little bit about the breakfast and lunch program. So just so you're aware, we are very fortunate to once again be participating in a program that allows us to offer free breakfast and lunch to all students in the district. We are so very fortunate to be able to do that. So in the morning when the children come in, breakfast will be in the lobby. Our staff members will have prepared the breakfast probably in a brown bag. And when students come in, they will pick up the brown bag and take it to their classroom to eat. As far as the lunch program, they will also be getting free lunches. Some of the students, some of the classes may be walking down to the cafeteria to get their lunch and then going back to their classroom to eat it, while other students, probably some of the younger elementary students, will remain in their classrooms and their lunches will be delivered to their classrooms. Our secondary students that leave at 1 they'll be picking up a lunch and they'll be taking it home with them. Since they have a shorter amount of academic in-person time in school, we didn't want to take that time to eat lunches here, and since they'll be leaving at 1, we thought that that would give them enough time to take their lunch and eat their lunch at home. So we're grateful for those of you who continue to participate in the program. It really does help the district out. So please encourage your children to eat school breakfast and school lunch every day. I believe that's all we have on our agenda this evening. Again, we very much appreciate the support we have received from our families. We've gotten some really nice emails and some very nice comments when we see you out and about around the community. And I can tell you that we are very much looking forward to bringing the children back here at Lyme. It's been very lonely without them. So we are looking forward to a safe and hopefully healthy reopening for everyone. And at any point that you have questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to call us. We have another question here that says, will kids be having gym and recess? So that will obviously have to look different this year, but I guess the short answer is yes. So elementary students will see their special area teachers in their classrooms most often. But there will be times that our PE teacher will take the children outside for a walk. Obviously making sure that everybody is social distancing. They may go out on the ball fields. They may get to use hula hoops or even kick balls around or something, as long as they're social distancing. Our older students are more apt to have a checklist of things that they will be asked to do at home in order to get their PE credit. So it's going to be a combination of true in-person and individualized PE. Many of the older kids will be participating in activities at their house. As far as recess, yes, the kids are going to get breaks, and they will go for walks, they'll go outside and play. At this point, our playground is not open, unfortunately. The guidance for schools is very different than it is for, say, villages or other state parks and such. So we're still looking at that piece and whether or not there's a way to utilize some of that equipment safely. So at this point, I would say no. The kids will probably do some, they'll have puzzles that they can use at their desk, or they might be permitted to bring toys from home that they can play at their desk with or outside with. So those are still things that we're working out, but kids will absolutely get breaks during the day. We know that's very important. So the plan in the event of a positive COVID test in school. So that is, first and foremost, we do have guidance on the website and we do have protocol. But what I'm going to say is at this point today, so what I should have said at the beginning of this meeting is that everything we're sharing is accurate to the best of our knowledge today. And what I can tell you is that the guidance and the protocols for a positive COVID test in the school is changing, or we're told it's changing. That being said, we have received nothing official in writing from the Department of Health. So it would be, it probably would not be in anyone's best interest if I shared that information right now, Mrs. Cordova, only because it's going to change. So what we have in our protocol is going to be different in the next few days. So as soon as that information becomes available and is accurate, more accurate, we will put that on our question and answer document. And you may also, give us a shout in a few days and ask the question again. And hopefully by then I'll be able to answer specifically. Do you have any more questions over there? Anyone? Okay. Well, I'm going to thank you all for joining us this evening. It's a difficult and a challenging process we're all working through, but again, our primary focus is the health and safety of our children. And we are absolutely looking forward to having everybody back in school. So take care and keep in touch, and don't hesitate to contact us if you need us. And thank you, Mrs. Sagru, for the kind words. We really appreciate that. Enjoy, and everybody have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.